Remember in February when I said, the crash is officially over? And boy, did you guys let me have it. I was delusional, another greedy realtor, and well, let's just say some other colorful comments. Now, I may have been a bit early to the jump here, but I think today you'll see the logic behind that opinion I had a few months ago. Now, before we get into all the analytics and ultimately my opinion again, I would encourage you all to read a really interesting article in Fortune magazine, I'll put a link below in the description, regarding home builder stock prices rebounding back to almost their all-time highs. The best line in this article was, "A constrained national housing market doesn't equal a crashing housing market." Now, if there's one lesson I've learned over the years in real estate, it's that feelings don't count for much. If you follow the data and trends, that tends to be a much more accurate barometer. So whether we agree or disagree, I think you'll find the following information interesting. Okay, first up, let's check out last month's sales. We sold 2,078 homes in March. I realize without context that number is utterly meaningless. While it was a massive 41% increase over February's dismal sales, this happens every March, so let's not get too excited there. This was, however, a 32% decrease from last March's sales. But remember, last March, the market was almost at its absolute peak, so it's not really fair or rational to compare today's numbers to record highs. But let's compare this to March of 2019, before the world went nutso on us. Now, in March of 2019, we sold just over 2,400 homes. So while that translates to a 14% decrease today, 14% down isn't so bad, especially considering all the doom and gloom we've been hearing about for the past 6+ months. All right, now let's see how that translates into median home values. Now, this one gets interesting. As you can see on the screen now, we ended March with a median price of $420,000. This helped us recover that $5,000 we lost last month and basically puts us right on par with where we were at the end of December. Now, I've covered this conflict before, but I'll reiterate right now. When I give you guys the median price for resale homes, I mean resale homes. See, the association simply reports MLS sales to the media. Then most media outlets falsely report the MLS sales as resale sales. However, when markets trend down, more and more new home builders put their new homes for sale on the MLS. Now, if I added in the 204 brand new homes that were listed for sale on the MLS last month, I'd wind up with a much juicier $429,000 median. So just keep that in mind when you're reading articles and watching the news. All right, now this brings us to arguably the most important metric of all, current inventory levels. On the screen now, you can see that for 6 months in a row, our inventory has decreased. We're now down to only 4,181 homes. By comparison, yes, we have twice the available homes as we did this time last year, but we already covered why this is an unfair comparison to make. Going back to March of 2019, we actually had over 7,000 homes on the market. So think about it. 2019 was actually a great year for real estate. Prices went up about 7%, and I'd say it was easily above normal. And even then, we had twice the inventory that we do now. So putting this all together is my little proprietary metric I call housing absorption. This essentially illustrates how competitive different price ranges are performing. So who cares about the market for $3 million homes if you're spending $500,000? Now, as a consumer, I really need to know what to expect. Now, the higher the percentage of absorption, the more competitive that price range is performing. When I started covering this after the pandemic, there were 1,300 homes for sale under $250,000. Cut to today, that number is only 51. Now, suffice to say, we don't even bother with this segment anymore as a result. So let's start with bulk of our market, homes priced between $250,000 to $500,000. We went from 42% last month up to 47%. So basically, half the homes on the market here are already under contract. Jumping to 500 to 750, we increase from 29% to 33%. Next, we have 750 to 1 million. This too jumped from 23% to 27%. Now let's talk luxury, 1 million to 1.5 million. This remained consistent at 27%. Finally, we have the ultra luxury of over $1.5 million. This remained consistent as well at 16%. Now, overall, the entire market is at a 39% saturation rate. This is more than double our 19% saturation rate we had back in November. Put another way, the market now is twice as competitive as it was back in November. So let's wrap up what we learned and make some sense out of all this madness. Sales are improving like they always do in March, but we're still a bit off from the norm. The median price has essentially remained flat for 4 months now. Inventory has diminished now for 23 straight weeks and doesn't appear to be slowing down. As a result, our market is now twice as competitive as it was in November. So what's next? Well, with only 4,000 homes in the market and 2,000 sold last month, that perfectly makes for a 2-month supply of inventory. By any metric, that constitutes a seller's market. But this isn't normal, not even close. The reality is this. While we have 4,000 homes on the market, over half of these homes are absurdly priced. While demand isn't exactly on fire, there are more buyers out there than people actually realize. The overwhelming sentiment is that rates will begin to trend down from here. But even while rates are higher, most buyers are struggling to identify homes that are worth the asking price. Recently, I've seen a trend of homes being priced more aggressively than before. In the past few weeks, I've written multiple offers on properties that were worth making an offer on, only to find out that they too had multiple offers on the table. If your home is priced correctly, it'll sell. Depending on the price range, it'll still sell in a week. But most homeowners aren't willing to sell right now. The ones that are tend to be priced at last year's levels. This is the first time in over a decade that we've entered April without 1 week of increased inventory this entire year. Literally, since I started tracking in 2012, I couldn't find a single example of this. So let's be honest, as long as we have California next door with their taxes and politics, we're going to have a steady influx of people moving here to Las Vegas along with the rest of the country. People need housing. So going back to the introduction, the reason new home builder stocks are soaring is because of the lack of inventory will be fulfilled somehow. For now, it seems that new home builders will be reaping the initial benefits of this. So if you're looking to purchase, I don't think that prices will necessarily soar again anytime soon. However, as tight as the market is, be careful. As soon as rates dip into the 5s, we may see more buyers and investors enter this market. Until sellers become motivated again, this could result in a market full of multiple offers and some brutal competition. Now, if you're looking to sell, it's much better to be realistic with your pricing and potentially get a bidding war in your hands. It's worth whatever it's worth either way, but if priced correctly, you'll have the ability to select a better buyer and negotiate better terms for yourself. Now, in the meantime, I think we're basically stuck in a Mexican standoff. Homeowners won't list their homes, and rates remain high enough to keep many buyers still at bay. But it appears obvious by looking at the data that either way we have more demand than we have supply. Just look to Econ 101, folks, to see how this ends. Well, that's it for this month. Please be sure to comment and subscribe, share this with your friends and family, and I'll see you all on the next one. Deuces.